See, this morning we're going to talk about forgiveness. We're going to talk about forgiveness because people are supposed to forgive people. No matter how they hurt you, you're supposed to forgive them. No matter how they mess over you, you're supposed to forgive them. Because that's what they say in the Bible. When you forgive somebody, but you will never forget how a person messed over you. If this person messed over you, you will never, ever forget it. And trust me, I will never forget how my aunt in the wheelchair Willie, messed over my mom. Even after my sister's funeral, even after my grandma's funeral, even after she got sick, how my mom took care of her, how my mom looked after her, how my mom wiped her butt when she couldn't even wipe her own butt. But at the end of the day, my mom forgave her. And this is the story about wheelchair. See, my grandma has 8 kids, 6 girls and 2 boys. My mom's mom and her dad, my grandma and my granddaddy, raised them all to be close. But as you can tell that they wasn't close at all. They was out for themselves. Even my mom. I'm not gonna take it from her either. But at the end of the day, my mom still felt like that's her sister. Even after she messed over my mom. Even after she did everything that she could do to me when it came to my son. Even after her best friend, she set her best friend up with my baby daddy, knowing that he did not take care of my son. She did that. But see, after my sister got sick, wheelchair Willie got sick. See, karma don't have no shelter. Karma has no filter. Karma will knock on your door to let you know. See, after my grandma passed and Monique passed, wheelchair Willie kept getting sick, kept going to the hospital, kept going to the nurse home. My mom up all night taking care of her. My mom went and got a job at the same nursing home that my aunt was in, so she could take care of my mom, so she could take care of her sister. So when she took care of her sister, not only did my mom take care of her on her shift, my mom took care of her off her shift. She made sure she went up there and made sure my aunt was changed. She made sure that my aunt was taken care of. She made sure of this. She even made sure enough where when she had to go to rehab, she went to the hospital where my husband worked at. She did. So that somebody could keep an eye on her, she did. But all my aunt could turn around and do is give my husband's boss, the CEO of the hospital, a flyer about the bike club that me and my husband was in. Trying to get my husband fired for no reason. But see, even after that, my mom sat my husband down and she talked to my husband. She told her, she said, listen, that's my sister. We don't know why she do the things that she do. My husband never spoke to my aunt after that. That built the animosity between me and my aunt then. But keep in mind, all I can think about is how my aunt had lied on my mom. How my aunt had lied on my mom. But keep in mind, we're going to go back. We're going to go back to 3 days before my sister passed. We're going to go back 3 days before my sister passed. Now, keep in mind, my sister had just got out of the hospital herself. Me and Margaret had took my sister to the hospital, got her admitted, and she stayed in the hospital. But when the doctors came in to talk to my sister, Monique made us step out so we didn't hear what they had to say. Because she didn't want us in her business because my sister knew she was dying and she wouldn't tell us. They're trying to save us. She wouldn't tell us that she was dying. But this is how my sister was the whole time. But my sister Margaret quit her job. She quit her job so she could go and work for a home health agency that my sister was working at to take care of my aunt. See, because my mom had convinced Monique to take care of my aunt because she didn't want a stranger in her house messing with her stuff and would half-ass do my aunt. So Monique and Margaret would go over there. But by Monique being sick, she would doze off. And the reason why Margaret was there, Margaret was to pick up the slack for Monique because Monique was sick. And see, by Monique being sick, not only was Margaret helping with my aunt, so was my mom. Because my sister was weak and my sister was sick. But my sister would call me every day. She would call me every day just to talk. She would call me every day just to talk. But Monique could not stand the smell of grease. She could not stand the smell of grease because it would upset her stomach so bad. But see, by Monique knowing that she was sick, by Monique knowing that she was dying, she still wanted to work. She still had to take care of her kids. Monique was the type that if something wasn't right with her, she just say fuck it and chuck it up like a big dog and she'll go on about her business. But because we knew she was sick, Margaret was with her. Monique would call me every day and she would tell me how her day was going. And I would tell her how my day was going. But keep in mind, my aunt was so vindictive that she took it up on herself to actually, every time Monique called me from her house, she had something to say in the background. She would make sure that I heard her. She would make sure that whatever she said it loud. And she said it so that Monique, and see, Monique was the type of person, she was like, Monica, I'll call you back. Monica, I'll call you back. Monica, I'll call you back. But this went on for like weeks when it came to Monique working for her. This went on for like weeks, but until like maybe 4 or 5 days before my sister passed, my sister kept getting weaker and weaker and she would just doze off. Right in the middle of her shift, she would just doze off. That's why Margaret and I had came over to my mom's house. And Monique had been staying with my mom because she was sick. And Monique wanted to go to my mom's house just to get some peace and quiet. So Monique would go over to my mom's house and she was actually living with my mom right before she passed. She had a whole house of her own, paying her own bills and stuff like this. But at the end of the day, Monique wanted to stay with my mom. So I went over to my mom's house one day. Monique was standing. That gray robe that I always wear, that's her robe she had on. And she was standing on the porch with that robe on. And she said, Monica, she said, do me a favor. She said, if something goes on with me, you make sure you look after Margaret and Mom. You make sure you look after them. She said, but you make sure that my kids make it. You make sure if something goes on, you make sure you step up and you take care of them. I said, Monique, quit saying stuff like that. I said, because you wishing death upon yourself. She was like, no, I'm not. She said, but listen to me. Real is real. She said, if something happens to me, take care of everything. I turned and I walked up on the porch where my sister was. And I grabbed her and I kissed her in her mouth. And I told her, I said, Monique, quit saying that. I told her, I said, quit saying that because that's not right. Don't say that. But yet still, she told me that. I kissed her in the mouth and I gave her a hug and I told her that I loved her. And I walked off the porch because my car was parked across the street. And I walked on the porch, off the porch and walked to my car. Not knowing that that was the last time I would talk to my sister. That was the last time I would see my sister alive. That was the last time, Jesus, that I talked to my sister, that I heard, that I hugged her. That was the last time that I talked to my sister. But at the end of the day, Monique went to work that same day. And when she went to work, this is what I heard. Monique called me. She said, Monica, she said, you know what? She said, I cannot. She called me. And she said, Monica, I cannot stand working for her. She said she got me cooking pig ears and sauerkraut and shit. I can't stand that smell. Margaret was in the background. Margaret told Monique, she said, Monique, walk off. She said, I'll go ahead and finish cooking for her. My aunt in the wheelchair knew that my sister couldn't stand it. But she was so jealous that my sister was on the phone with me. She yelled in the background, I'm not paying you to talk to Monica. I'm paying you to take care of me. So when she said this, Monique was like, this is my sister. I'm going to talk to her when the fuck I want to. And she told her, she said, and I'm going to call your company and tell them that you talking on personal company time. But this is how she was. This is what she said to my sister 3 days before my sister passed. Then when my sister passed, she had the nerve to ask my dad to come and get her. She had her arms out for my dad to come and get her. The whole time, I'm furious because I know this is what she said. I held on to animosity the whole time that this was going on. I was so, do you see now why I was mad? She didn't give a damn. She didn't give, like, no fucks, like none. The whole time she kept telling me, I didn't say that, I didn't say that. Yes, you did say that. Yes, you did. But she got sick. She did. She got sick. My sister went to heaven. I wonder where she went. I wonder where she went. Because at the end of the day, she know what she said. She know how she talked down to my sister. That's why she felt so guilty at the funeral. That's why she was hollering for my dad. That's why she was asking them to forgive her. 1 year after my sister had passed, she got sicker and sicker and sicker. My mom kept running back and forth to the hospital for her. Kept running back and forth to the hospital for her. Kept making sure her child was taken care of. Kept making sure her bills was paid. Kept making sure she had some type of quality of life. But the whole time I'm stirring. I'm mad. I'm mad. I'm angry. I'm pissed. Because the last thing I can remember is how she talked to my sister before she died. That's all I can remember. But everybody, Monica, you got to forgive her. She's sick, Monica. You got to forgive her. You got to let stuff go. You got to forgive her. She's sick, Monica. My sister was sick. And nobody forgave her. Yeah. I'm going to have to take a minute because I'm pissed. See, a lot of people can fake it till they make it. I can't. I cannot. I will not fake it until I make it. I will not. I get a phone call from my cousin Geneva telling me to get to Grandview Hospital because my aunt in Atlanta flew down here. Everybody is meeting up at Grandview Hospital because the one in the wheelchair is dying. She's unresponsive. My mom calls me right after that and she asks me, she said, Monica, I need for you to come here and I need you to tell me what's going on because I don't understand none of this medical jargon shit. I gets down there and I tell them she got all these plugs and stuff on her. The whole time that I'm riding to the hospital, I'm telling myself, Monica, you got to let it go. You got to look forward. Monica, you got to let it go. You got to forgive her. So I had to forgive her. I had to forgive her. I had to chuck it up. I had to swallow my pride. See, I had to swallow my pride when it came to my aunt because at the end of the day, all I can think about is my sister. All I can think about is the conversation that my sister had. All I can think about is how she hurt my sister. But at the time, I was thinking about my mom, that this is her sister. That's all I could think about. And how she loved her sister no matter what her sister done to her. My mother was totally in love with her sister. No matter how people told her, it's her messing over you. Leave her alone. My mother would not. See, my mother is not right in a lot of things. But my mother is one of the most loyal people you will ever find when it comes to her siblings. Right now, she would actually give her left foot for her siblings. They wouldn't do the same for my mom. They would not. My mom looked at me, she grabbed me, and she pulled me in the corner before I got to the room. And this is what she said. She said, Monica, let it go. My sister is dying. She said, Monica, let it go. My sister is dying, and I need you to be there. She said, Monica, she can't hear you. I said, Mom, she can hear you. I said, she just can't say anything. She's in there, but she can hear you. So y'all better watch what y'all saying around her because she can hear every word you're saying. I walked in the room where she was swollen. She was so swollen I couldn't even recognize who she was. Her eyes was rolled back in her head and I looked down on her and I told her in her ear that I forgave her for everything she had ever done. And I told my mom, I said, Mom, y'all got to let her go. This is no quality of life. These machines is what's keeping her alive. Y'all have to let her go. So they made the executive decision because my grandma and granddaddy was already gone. They had made the executive decision to let her go. And that's what they just did. They let her go. I didn't stay to watch them take her off the machines. I didn't. I couldn't stand it because my mom was hurt. My mom was crying hysterically for her sister. And I knew what that felt like because I had just cried for my own. See, because a sister bond, a sibling bond is something that is so phenomenal that if you don't have that bond with your siblings, you need to get it because it is such an amazing, amazing feeling. But at the end of the day, I chucked it up and I walked off. The next phone call I received was that she was gone. My mom made the funeral arrangements for her sister. She had the funeral. I stopped what I was doing. I wasn't even going to come. I was at work. I told them, I said, I have to leave to go to my aunt's funeral, but I will be back. I walked into my aunt's funeral. It was maybe a handful of people there. As much as my aunt had did, it was only a handful. When it was my turn to walk up to the casket, I looked down on her and I told her again that I forgave her. And she knew I forgave her. because I told her in her ear at the hospital that I forgave her. See, because at the end of the day, every decision that she made wasn't the right decision, but she did help my mom take care of us when we were smaller, when my dad left. But when I learned what kind of person she was and I seen how evil she could have been, I had to forgive her. See, forgiveness is something that you have to earn. It's not given. You have to earn forgiveness. And I forgave her for everything she did. So I tip my hat off to you, Wheelchair Willie. 10 out of 10, baby. Because listen, I forgave you. So this is a part of this is a part of my life that I didn't want to talk about. To this day, I walk into my mom's house, and right when you walk in her double French doors is a shelf that sits to the left. It is my aunt's urn. Yep. The same aunt that messed over my mom, the same aunt that lied on my mom, the same aunt that was the cause of my mom not to see her mom. So as you can see, there's a lot that goes on in everyday life. People can fake it like, oh, their life was perfect. My life was not perfect. It wasn't. I have a lot of animosity still. But I have to learn how to let it go. And at this point, I have let it go. So I'm going to say it again. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all in my next story. Bye.